former president behind bars. Donald Trump is charged with falsifying business records to hide a potentially damaging story about an affair with a porn star. This is something he has long denied.
Those 18 jurors, the 12 jurors that will judge Donald Trump plus the alternates, they're all going to be coming into the courthouse by 9:30 today. And
I did exactly what Matt Gaetz would have done, okay?
what they will be doing is previewing the contours of the case on both sides.
Engaging in sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, accepting improper gifts, dispensing special privileges and favors to individuals with whom you had a personal relationship with, and seeking to obstruct investigations into misconduct.
And is stepping up at this time to speak about very likely what he knows of catch and kill schemes. These schemes in 2016 that Donald Trump and his campaign were interested in, and his personal attorney Michael Cohen were interested in, to collect negative stories about Donald Trump, put money toward the people who had those stories, those stories were theirs to tell, and silence them. A very big thing, not just for Stormy Daniels, who is at the core of this falsification of business records case. As far as opening statements, there isn't a time limit on how long these attorneys will go, but they're not going to bore the jury to start out this day. Typically, opening statements can take, an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. I understand from my sources that on the defense side, it's not going to be very long at all. But also for other witnesses who are likely to be called to testify against the former president.
Kaylin, how long will the opening statements be? Do we know? And just a little bit more
was taking place. Donald Trump's birthday was on Friday. He turned 78, and Donald Trump gave a speech in West Palm Beach. Of course, no Melania there on his birthday, nor did Melania wish Donald Trump a happy birthday on any platform or at all. But Donald Trump, while he was giving this unhinged speech in West Palm Beach, he got very frustrated and he started saying it was so unfair. He thinks it's so improper, he said, that Dr. Jill Biden would visit Hunter Biden at Hunter Biden's criminal trial. And that's part of Donald Trump's campaign stump speech now, whining about how Dr. Jill Biden loves her son, Hunter Biden, and how his own wife would not go and visit him or be around him or even be with him on his birthday. Here's what Donald Trump said at his speech on Friday.
But then his wife flew back and forth like it was a taxi cab. It's Air Force One and or Air Force Two. I mean, just back and forth, back and forth. Let's go, sit at a trial for a day, go back, forth, back, forth. It's really terrible, but that's...
And by the way, when Donald Trump showed up in Washington, D.C. and gave that rambling, meandering, unhinged, whatever you want to call it, before the House Republicans at the Capitol Hill Club, he mentioned Steve Scalise. He gave Steve Scalise a shout-out, MAGA Republican, and Steve Scalise, tragically, was shot when Trump was in office. And Donald Trump said the following, though, about Steve Scalise. He said, "Steve shows great courage. I saw him in the hospital. I can tell your wife really loves you, Steve, because some wives wouldn't care." That's what Donald Trump said. Then Donald Trump proceeded to talk about Hannibal Lecter, how he thinks that in another world, perhaps, he could have been in a romantic relationship with Nancy Pelosi, according to a completely made-up conversation he had in his head with who he calls Nancy Pelosi's wacko daughter, which is entirely false. Donald Trump also, of course, attacked the city of Milwaukee and said it was a horrible city, but in between doing that, he said that, "Steve, your wife must love you for showing up when you were in the hospital when you were shot, because most wives," he said, "would not do that, or some wives wouldn't care," obviously referencing Melania. By the way, I went back and took a look if Donald Trump ever made a comment like this about Steve Scalise before, and he did. Back on October 31st, 2019, it was reported that at a private fundraiser, Trump talked about meeting Steve Scalise's wife after he was shot. "She cried her eyes out when I met her at the hospital that fateful day. I mean, not many wives would react that way to tragedy. I know mine wouldn't, is what Donald Trump said there. But what we do know about Melania, not only did she not wish Donald Trump a happy birthday, but she's refused to pretty much show up to any events at all, and Donald Trump's planted sources, or perhaps just the Rupert Murdoch papers on their own and digital papers, just spew the propaganda with made-up sources, who knows, but headlines like this from June 4th, 2024, this was June 4th, this was 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago. Page 6, owned by Rupert Murdoch, put this out and then all the other media copied it. The Trump verdict brings family closer, including a thaw between Ivanka and Melania. According to a source, New York Post previously reported as well, back in May of 2023, Melania Trump says she supports Donald Trump's 2024 campaign, and then back on December 25th, 2023, according to sources telling the New York Post, Melania Trump to step up public appearances for Donald in 2024. Time to leave her mark on history. Just the shameless nature of this MAGA Republican propaganda from Fox is just so out of control. By the way, at that unhinged speech Donald Trump gave at West Palm Beach, I'm not sure if you saw the chyrons from Fox. Trump's 78th birthday bashed, exclamation point, or sold out crowd at Trump birthday bash. Sold out crowd? There's not even tickets for sale. It's at Donald Trump, it's at like the airport hub. It's not even like a thing that gets sold out. And then they had the other chyron, welcome to the age of Trump. But we can take a look at the relationship between Dr. Jill Biden and Joe Biden, right? With messages like this. This was from the White House to Dr. Jill Biden. Happy birthday at FLOTUS, or when Dr. Jill Biden wrote, a perfect birthday celebration filled with so much love and Joe's favorite coconut cake. And it's President Joe Biden with all of his family members there. Or when Dr. Jill Biden wrote, there's no one else I'd rather dance with than you. Happy birthday, Joe. I love you, with these photographs right here. Or when President Biden recently posted this, I'm so proud to be Jill Biden's husband. Happy birthday, Jilly. Here, play this clip.
I'm Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden. Joe Biden. Jill Biden. Jill Biden. Jill Biden's husband. Proud of it.
But it should be noted that Melania Trump did post the Fortitude collection, celebrate service members and our nation and our freedom by buying these cheapo fake gold medallions where she appropriates the images of our country to grift and make money, and she calls it the Fortitude collection, but no happy birthday messages to Donald Trump there, although Dr. Jill Biden did wish a happy birthday on the same day as